Smooth. When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything. Welcome back to Balance. Got some time in the books. Got off schedule a little bit there, but that's all good. It's all good because, hey, it's July. It's Saturday. It's Saturday morning. Sun's out. At least it's out here in Indianapolis, high atop the Balance Studios in the west suburbs of Indianapolis, Indiana. Just a little west of the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll be at in a few weeks for NASCAR in the Brickyard, and we'll be there. And we will be talking some NASCAR about that as well. Speaking of NASCAR, thank you to Tony Donahu for joining us from the golf course to talk with us in his Jim Nance voice before he teed off. We do appreciate the time they did. Rick Regan made a surprise visit as well. We'll have him on here in a few weeks. He's our college football guru, and so he helps us along with college football. He's been a part of the show for a good number of years, and so we look forward to having him back on a regular basis to talk college football with us, a little NFL every now and then. So we'll look forward to having him on in a couple weeks. Matthew Embry, WSBT up in South Bend, gives us a call, talks some IndyCars. The IndyCar rolls into mid-Ohio. So, hey, Ed Kratz called us from the NovaCare practice facility in Philadelphia. Yeah, I didn't get into that with him. I'm glad Rick brought that up. We had so much to cover in just a limited amount of time that he has, a very restricted schedule that he has. So we had to grab him when we could grab him, So that's why we had to kind of mix up our schedule today. But yeah, he was on vacation down in South Florida with his family after his son graduated college, and yeah, he rented a Lamborghini down there for, a few hours. Nothing extravagant, but I thought that was really cool. And he did do that. Yes, absolutely. Not everybody can own one like myself. Oh, no. Of course, I'm not holding out for that $20 million like Ezekiel Elliott's doing. But the NFL is here. Going camp in 2019, title of our show. NFL's broke camp across the nation. 917-898-5516 is our digits. Make sure you're also following us on the media of social and on the Book of Faces and the Tweet Birds. Twitter, @TBalance. Facebook, just search The Balance. Like our page. And I have to admit, though, we've been slacking a little bit on our updates on the Facebook page, on the Book of Faces. I'll fall on the sword on that. But we're good with Twitter. So follow us on Twitter @TBalance. We're also in the process of redoing our website, so just stay tuned for that. More information to come on that. You can also make sure that, and you might already be doing this if you're listening to us and not live, you're listening to us on a podcast format, which is on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, really Blog Talk here, obviously, our facilitator. Really anywhere that you can find a podcast, most cases you can find us there. And more things to come on that as our podcast does grow. We've got some things in the works that we're working on that. Can't quite tell you about it just yet, but it's pretty big. It's a pretty next big step for us. Obviously, we've been doing this thing called The Balance for several years and really build our audience. And thanks to you guys. I mean, heck, if it wasn't for you, I'd just be standing here talking to myself, which maybe I am. I don't know. Talking to my beagle. The New Balance mascot is the beagle. If I don't know how many of you might follow follow me on Facebook or whatever, but I'm pretty open, so it's pretty easy to find. But you can meet the beagle in there. So Beagle Penny, she's something else, but she's fitting well into the pack here on the Balance team, and so good to have Penny the mascot. I digress. I know. I'm actually we're standing by. We're going to have Mo from the BS Sports Show on with us to continue to talk some NFL. So I didn't want to get too in depth about anything. Oh, one of those days. See, that's what happens. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So my screen needed to be refreshed. And I'll try to type in my password, giving you the behind the scenes. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, we're going to do this. Hold on. There. Couldn't remember my password. I know. Way too much information. Like, let's get back into sports. You know, we can. I did want to get into some of the NFL stories around the league. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Theo Reddick being released after 6 seasons with the Detroit Lions. And I meant to ask Rick when he called, because I know he's a big Game of Thrones fan. I am too. But I have to admit that I was kind of like, got busy. I tried to binge and get caught up, and it just didn't happen. So I kind of fell off. And then, obviously, if you're connected to social media, a lot of people were unhappy with the way the Game of Thrones ended. Maybe you're one of those people. I'm all into Stranger Things. No spoilers, but I'm almost to the end of that. Yeah, but you know, what I love about Stranger Things is just the nostalgic look. Remember the movie? Probably if you're an 80s child like myself, if you will. I wasn't really an 80s child. I was more of an 80s teenager. But nonetheless, you remember the Gremlins and that camaraderie between kids, and that's kind of how Stranger Things was when it first started. And then in the second season. But it seems like, and you know, I don't want to. If you haven't started watching Stranger Things, well, shame on you, because it started on July 4th, and shame on me for not have finished all 8 episodes. And I think that'll get finished tonight. I'm pretty sure that'll happen. But it seems like they keep adding more monsters. Maybe I'm not a big fan of it. I'm okay with it, but I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of gotten off track a little bit. But I'm going to say, based on what I've heard about the Game of Thrones, that it's not near as bad as the Game of Thrones as far as the ending goes. Now, I believe that at least what's scheduled is one more season of Stranger Things. I don't know exactly when that'll be released, but I've heard that Stranger Things 4 is the final season for Stranger Things. So we'll see how that comes about. But yeah, but when Rick made that Game of Thrones reference of all the kings in the north die, I was wanting to get his thoughts on the end of Stranger Things. NFL's here. We're standing by. We'll be getting into more of this with Mo from the BS Sports Show. But some news coming out of the Patriots camp. Patriots quarterback not named Tom Brady is being asked to switch positions a la Julian. So we'll see what happens there with the New England Patriots. Obviously, we talked about the Lions releasing Theo Reddick after 6 seasons. I think that was kind of a big surprise, and we didn't get a chance to get into too much detail about that. But he was one of the I don't know. I guess they had their reasons. I don't know that would have been the first person that I would have went to. Indianapolis Colts obviously broke camp this week too. Andrew Luck not taking a lot of snaps, and as we talked with Ed Kratz earlier, our official NFL contributor, we talked with him about that, and his thoughts was just not to be overly concerned about him not taking snaps in July. Would be concerned if he's not taking snaps in September, obviously. But just to kind of manage his workload, and so we'll see how that plays out. And I think Ballard, I think Ballard and Frank Reich have all the pieces in place now. Yes, there's some holes to fill, but I think we're in a very good position to keep Andrew Luck up on his feet. Obviously, home team for me here in Indianapolis. I'm big diehard Colts fan, so I follow the Colts quite thoroughly. But even if I wasn't a Colts fan, you got to know that Andrew Luck's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, if you will. And am I saying he's the best? No. So don't jump all over me. Oh, he's no Tom Brady. He's no Peyton Manning. No, he's not. But he's certainly one of the best. And so, as the season moves along, and I want to encourage you all to get ready for fantasy football. If you want to join the fantasy football league, we'll have that up here in a week or so on the social media world. So all you've got, it's free for bragging rights. We have a lot of fun with it. But there is a very limited amount of space that we can do. I think we cap it at 14. So once we get that 14, it fills up like real quick. Then we have a lot of people that return from year to year, and that's one of the things that we like to have you do is if you play and you like it, you're automatically guaranteed first right to refusal to your spot. So we only have a few limited spots open in the Balance fantasy football. So that's going to be coming your way soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled as fantasy football is about to get underway. And then we'll, of course, we'll incorporate fantasy football every week here in the show and talk about the studs and the duds, the starters, the injury reports. We'll get into all of that. Trust me, that's coming. My name's Tom Marquis, El Presidente. Go and take a break. Be back with Mo for the BS Sports Show.